Formerly suicidal people of Reddit, how did things change? Serious? My friend passed away after hanging herself. I saw what it did to all of us. It's been almost 5 years and it's still difficult for me to think about. It kind of took the option away from me because I saw how destroyed her family was, and I know how destroyed I was. I couldn't do that to my dad. He was so distraught at the loss of my friend and I realized how much he needed me. That said, sometimes it scares me that my biggest, not only, although it often feels that way, reason is based on other people. My support system is very small. I wonder, if the two people who care about me unconditionally were not here, if I'd still care. I wish my biggest reason was myself. Maybe one day. I'll keep working at it. I experienced strong suicidal thoughts from the ages of 13 to 33, including one serious attempt that landed me in critical care at the age of 29. I had done some therapy but never found much benefit to it. And then after 7 years of trying medications, my psychiatrist said there are no more meds, we've tried them all, please consider trying therapy again and we'll go back to the only medication that maybe did a little something. So on the 4th try of therapy I found this guy who at least wasn't scared of my suicidal thoughts. I can't pinpoint exactly what we talked about that made the difference, but after about a year the suicide planning stopped. And another 6 to 9 months later the thoughts mostly stopped. I'm going on 18 months without significant suicidal thoughts now. I still work with the same therapist and we've been able to shift from suicide talk all the time to working on improving self-esteem and meeting new people. If you're struggling with this know there is hope. I thought there wasn't after so many years of severe depression, but there was. You can do it. Find someone to talk to, and if the first person isn't receptive, look for someone else until you find someone who understands and can help you through it. Honestly, what helped push me past wanting to try was me actually talking to someone who would sit down and listen to me after seeing I wasn't alright. It was the first time I felt I was ever truly listened to without someone already having a next line of questioning ready. The person who did also has struggled with their mental health, and they're really important in my life even today when I have an awful headspace day. I'm really fortunate to have finally gotten that, and sometimes wish I would have spoken to someone sooner. But, I was always afraid because of what my previous experiences were, so I stayed quiet about my own stuff. Edit, also, I mean just that, as in I don't feel the need now to attempt suicide. I still have moments where I feel suicidal. I just don't act on those thoughts. When I have an especially bad day I can push it out, I reach out to my friend. Bless him. After losing all of my friends, being in an extremely toxic relationship, or 3, and struggling with college, before dropping out of college and the cheap therapy my university provided, all I thought about every day was how worthless I was and what the easiest and most painless way to kill myself was. I threw myself into an interest I'd only dabbled in before. I made an Instagram for it and started following people with the same interests. The months I spent isolated and alone were filled with self-improvement as not to be as much of a toxic person as I was before. I started meeting people through Instagram that were local and interested in the same things. I met my current wonderful and incredibly caring boyfriend, and so many amazing friends I wouldn't be able to count them all with 5 sets of hands. I'm not where I want to be, but goddamn I am so much further from thoughts of suicide now. I have every single wonderful person in my life to thank. I also have to thank every terrible person I've met for helping me learn the harder lessons. It gets better at it. The good parts in life are closer than you think. I graduated school and dropped out of college. That's not a joke. The first 3 months of my current job were absolute cancer, multiple mental breakdowns on the side of the road, and it was head, shoulders and cock above school. I went to therapy. Doesn't mean I don't think about it at all, but it still crosses my mind from time to time. I began my transition at 19. Before that I was told just miserable. Leading up to it I had almost no emotions. I was apathetic about everything. I knew that I'd be dead by 26 anyway, so what was the point of trying anything new or planning if I was just gonna kill myself soon anyway. About a month after I started taking hormones, it was like this fog that sat in my mind was lifting. It was strange at first, honestly. I was so used to suicidal thoughts that I suddenly had all this free mental capacity. At first it was truly anxiety-inducing having so much to think about. I started panicking cause I had exactly zero plans for life. But I figured it out. Been over 2 years now since I began transition. I have a beautiful girlfriend I love dearly, a nice apartment in a state very far away and a decent job. I'd say life is looking up and there are many plans I have for my future, far beyond age 26. I attempted suicide 6 years ago and underwent extensive treatment for my mental health. I got on medication that works for me and talked to someone 2 times a week for 3 years. I made new friends that supported me and my happiness. I got involved in an organization to help high school-aged kids stay away from substances and combat substance abuse in their schools. I turned things around. But when I really realize how much things have changed is when I'm just driving in my car some days and a good song comes on and I just think about it. It will just hit me that this is all mine. I bought my car, I have a great support system of family and friends, I have a job, I'm going to school for something I enjoy, and I have a wonderful girl in my life. I wouldn't want to miss out on anything that has happened in the last 6 years, or the next 6 years, because no matter how much things suck you can always make it through that. If I would have ended my life 6 years ago, I would have never met my best friend or my girlfriend, I would have never been out of the country, I would have never taken my first car out for spin, I wouldn't have learned to paint or work on cars or cook. I would have never done so much stuff because I wouldn't be here, and that's hard to think about some days, but I'm so happy that I wasn't successful in my attempt. Started taking my fucking meds again. If the regular pattern continues, then I'm due to assume I'm better in about 2 months' time, at which point I'll stop taking them, almost immediately fall into a mental pit, then spend 2 to 3 years being a useless sack of shit before admitting I still need pills. Then I'll start taking them again, spend a week or 2 feeling high as a kite, spend about 6 months as a basically functional human being, assume I'm better and stop taking the pills, etc, etc, etc. Take your fucking meds. Don't stop taking your fucking meds just because they work. Try to get outside and talk to people when you can, it'll help, but mostly just take your fucking meds. I'm bipolar and was in a mixed episode, which is a really unstable state to be in. 1 minute, I was laughing with my mom and we were joking about the dogs, and she left the house, and not even 5 minutes later I was sitting in the bathtub with a knife to my wrist, with every intention of ending my life. I snapped out of it when I thought about my mom coming back home and finding me like that. I felt perfectly fine within 2 minutes of deciding not to. I was terrified at how real that moment was. I started going to therapy and started taking medication that helped me regulate the cycles. Medication, my love for my mom, and a good therapist helped me. Slowly, but surely. Started meds, went to therapy. My therapist was amazing. I always say I wouldn't be here without her, but she insists it's all me. I got myself out of that hole, against all odds. You gotta live one day at a time. Don't worry about whatever shit life's gonna throw at you tomorrow, focus on today, on and. You got up out of bed? Congrats. You're doing amazing. You took a shower? Amazing. Don't forget to eat breakfast. Every little thing is an achievement when you're depressed, and should be celebrated as such. I know, it's silly, but it's also silly that my brain can't produce enough serotonin by itself, so might as well be silly myself. Also, support networks. Some people don't have one Earl, but the internet is full of people willing to listen. Sometimes all we need is someone who'll listen, you know? What I mean is, if you fall, let that network catch you. Whether it be your friends at school, your family, or awesome people in the internet. With all this, and maybe more stuff I'm missing, things change. Then one day, you're looking forward to tomorrow, And that, my friend, that's the best feeling ever. Therapy and medication. My family had such a stigma around mental health and reaching out for help. I had already attempted to take my life once before I reached out. I had a lot of toxicity in my life that I never realized because it was my normal, so I cut that all out. I married my best friend, graduated college, and we moved cross-country. Getting away from the bad environment and people has had such a positive impact. I can't believe I didn't do it sooner. It feels like people don't care, or you feel like a burden, but you aren't. If anyone is feeling suicidal, please feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to listen.